Listen,
Angel, what the
listen.
fuck you
No,
say?
no, it's not. The penis is
Yes, it
very
is.
Oh,
feminine.
fight.
The penis is feminine. It's okay. It's not
No.
gay.
No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our chivalry of Shota's Shotaro.
I was born this way.
And our wizard of Wait What, Chinoda.
I feel alive.
Okay. I'm not
You
even
don't
gonna
look it.
ask. Not even gonna ask. So tonight we're actually doing our the second part of our 3-part miniseries about sex and sexuality in anime and manga. And tonight's topic, or this second part's topic, is going to be talking about LGBT topics and themes as they relate to anime, manga, and otaku culture in general. Now, I think starting off first, we should mention that kind of like how we did our minority representation podcast a few months ago, which you should definitely go check out if you haven't yet. It's really well done, and actually two of the people that are here with me tonight were on that episode. Since we're talking about LGBT topics, the 3 hosts you have here with you tonight are sort of part of that community in one facet or another. So I'm going to go ahead and do we want to say what we all kind of are?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll start with you, Sho.
I'm a gay man.
It's good. Oh, good to know. Shinoda.
I am me.
I am me. You are Hideyoshi.
He is Pico.
He is Pico. He is other.
There's many who question what the hell I am, and I don't tell them because it's just more fun that way.
And are you one of the ones that questions what you are?
I stopped questioning things a long time ago.
I see. Well, and I myself, I am a bisexual man. So there's a little bit of everything sort of represented here tonight in one way or another. So we have 3 specific topics that we kind of want to tackle tonight as they relate to LGBT themes in anime and manga. And I guess we can start off with our first one that we want to talk about, which is queer baiting. Now, I went and I looked up a couple of different definitions of queer baiting because I know what it means to me personally, but I kind of wanted to see in a general sense what the accepted definition of it was. And probably the most interesting definition, and certainly a definition that I think Sho kind of takes a little bit of issue with, that I found was actually on Wikipedia. This is their definition of queer baiting. Queer baiting is hinting at, but not actually depicting, a potential same-sex romantic relationship between fictional characters, meant to imply that this is done for the express purpose of attracting, i.e. baiting, a queer audience with the ultimately unrealized suggestion of relationships that appeal to them. Now, what is you said before we started that you kind of had an issue with this definition. What is your actual issue?
Oh, you misinterpreted. I didn't have an issue with it. I just thought it was very long.
Oh,
I thought it was pretty self-explanatory what queer baiting was.
I thought when you said that, I thought you actually meant that you had like an issue with the actual definition.
No, it's just very detailed.
Do you think that that is an actual good definition of queer baiting, though?
Yeah, sure.
I would say so, too. The only thing that I would say that I would personally change about this is that it's for the express purpose of attracting a queer audience. I think that is part of it, but I don't think that's just the only part of it.
What other purpose would there be?
I mean, there are people who aren't necessarily part of this particular community who would still find it appealing.
Okay, yeah.
Specifically from a story standpoint, I'm saying. Not necessarily from, I just want to see, like, a gay person do such and such.
Wait, what do you mean from a story standpoint?
As long as it fits into the story and it's not, like, just there to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
That's the only personal problem I have with that definition. But Shinoda, do you think that's a good definition for you?
Honestly, it sounds pretty good to me, in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get to how this actually relates to anime, manga, etc. By actually applying this to some shows that do this. I think the most obvious and one of the most recent that comes up is a show called Yuri on Ice, which I think did this expertly well in multiple ways. Go ahead.
Well, before we get to that, it's interesting that you would say they did queer baiting well, because if we break it down to the base concept of queer baiting, is queer baiting in and of itself a good thing?
I think the term itself is originally meant to be derogatory, but I think that I think there is a way you can turn it around and make it a positive.
Okay.
Especially if you actually draw those people in and give them something that they want, whether or not it's a fully realized relationship or not.
I think queer baiting by definition will always be derogatory. And so I don't think you can do queer baiting well, because that's a oxymoron in my opinion, because you can't do something well when it's inherently bad. But then again, I'm such a hypocrite because I love queer baiting shows.
That's true.
Because
a lot
I
of
have
your
no
favorites
standards.
are kind of
Okay,
queer-baity.
I will take what I get, but I know that what I'm getting is shit. Okay.
A lot of your favorite anime that you've talked to me about over the last couple years, they're kind of queer-baity. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, I'm in a drought of gay shit.
You're in a drought.
And I'm take what I need to survive. Okay.
There you go.
Well, I can tell you why I mentioned Yuri on Ice specifically. Number one, it had a huge Fujoshi following, and the only way I can really express that this can be proven to you is go to an anime convention where they're having a Yuri on Ice panel, and you will see that it has a huge Fujoshi following.
You will,
and that's also
there
something
will
we should
be
talk about. But I think that what Yuri on Ice did well, so to speak, with queer baiting is that it's about the show itself is about figure skating, and this is not meant to be derogatory because it's the truth. In the real world figure skating ethos, on the male side in particular, there's a lot of gay men that do it, and I think that Yuri on Ice, for what it was able to accomplish, actually portrayed it really well. It didn't seem condescending, and it didn't seem derogatory how they portrayed it.
I guess, but it was derogatory.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that it personally, and I know it was never expressly stated that Yuri and Victor are in a relationship, but I thought that as depictions of homosexual relationships go in anime, not to say that we've gotten a whole lot, but as they go in anime, I think they handle it with a certain amount of tact.
They definitely had tact, and definitely relative to what we have, it was a good depiction of a relationship. But I still don't think it's an adequate depiction, because it was never explicit, like you said.
Okay, so let me ask you this then: if they had made it explicit by the end, would that not be queer baiting in your mind?
Even if it's at the very end, because I was kind of expecting it to become explicit, but it didn't. But yeah, as long as they make it explicit, even at the end, then yeah, okay, you only need to take 1 second to be by the way, I'm gay, and then it's all fine. But since they didn't say that, then it's not okay.
Yeah.
I can definitely see where you're coming from on that, and I would definitely agree. Although there is a movie on the way, and it could still happen.
It could. We'll see. Kind of like a cop out at this point, though.
Not necessarily, because they have said that it will be a continuation. So who knows? I mean, who knows what could happen at this point? If it does become explicit, though, in the movie that they're going to make, I don't think that you can say that the whole story itself is a queer bait.
Well, is it really necessary, though, that they had to leave it ambiguous and then wait for a movie and then make it explicit? That just feels baity. Feels like baiting.
It's extremely baity if they do it like that. Not to mention, the fact that they have to do it in the movie instead, it's kind of it's kind of straight up telling the fact that it was a cop out.
Yeah, I can definitely see where people would think that. I don't know. I'm taking kind of a wait and see approach before I get my final opinion about it. I just never thought that I always thought that the way that they did the actual relationship, whether however you want to view it, I thought they did it with tact. And I think that the portrayal of like gay men in that show in general was pretty well done overall.
Who was gay other than Victor and oh fuck,
Victor and Yuri.
yes. Were those the only ones that you're saying are gay?
Not
No,
to mention-
I'm not saying just them. Again, it's implied. It's heavily implied that Chris is gay. The Swedish guy.
But here's
Wait,
one
why?
of my
Swedish,
problems.
Swiss,
Because
the
he's
Swiss guy.
effeminate.
Huh?
But we have never seen him attracted to guys. He just acts flamboyant, right?
He does act slightly flamboyant. I would say he actually acts more flamboyant than Victor does sometimes.
Wait, is Chris the one that came in his pants?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's my problem. Why not just outright say they are and then just move on? Why couldn't they just have done that?
I think that kind of speaks to the culture of Japan a little bit.
Probably.
Um,
Even though this is supposed to be an international, like, aimed show.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for the reason that you don't see a whole lot of really good or well done depictions of homosexuality or alternate sexualities, if you want to put it that way, in anime, manga, and like light novels and such, is because of the culture of Japan. For a long time, and even still now, it's not viewed in all facets of Japanese society with the same like acceptance that it is now in the West.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually prefer the Japanese depiction of homosexuality, despite all its flaws, over the Western depiction, if there is any Western depiction, which is very minimal.
Yeah, it's definitely it's gotten better recently, I would say, though. I mean, there was an article I read not too long ago that said that there was a high school in Japan that was allowing students to choose which type of uniform they wanted to wear. Like if they could mix and match uniforms. So if a guy wanted to wear the woman's uniform, they could.
Yeah, they'd probably get bullied to death.
But you see what I'm saying? It's the fact that they're even allowing that to take place at all is, to me, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, I guess small steps.
Yeah, I mean, even as it say, a journey of a thousand miles begins with a single step.
Yeah.
That's so cliched, but it's true.
And more kind of off topic, but more specifically why I prefer the Japanese portrayal of homosexuality is because that they queer bait about that they are including queer characters in shows that are focused on like a completely different aspect of the plot. Like Yuri on Ice was focused on figure skating. That was what the plot revolved around, but it also included allegedly queer characters. And a lot of shows that queerbait do that, like Free is allegedly about swimming, but it has queerbaiting in it. And we also have on here Sound Euphonium, which is about band, but it like queer baits. But the point is that the main plot is not about the queer people. It's about an activity or a different plot thread that actually evolves and they actually explore it. Whereas a lot of other, I would say, I don't know about Western depictions of queer people is definitely like you don't see queer people in the Western media as part of like a sports kind of fiction or as part of an action fiction or anything. It's more like romance and you focus directly on the queer character. But I guess that appeals to some people, but I personally prefer it when there are queer characters, but there's also another plot. It's not just the romantic relationship of the queer character. Like there's more going on in the story. I prefer that. that I see a lot of in Japanese media, even though it is not perfect. At least I get a bit of it. So yeah.
I mean, you seem to be suggesting that you like it when it's like secondary to the overall plot.
Yeah, I would prefer if it was explicit and secondary. I usually only get implicit and secondary. But yeah, I do prefer... Because, like, okay, I will literally... I don't have the attention span to just talk about... Or just watch someone be queer and then that's an entire show. Like, come on. I need some more... I need some plot, okay? I need something to happen.
That's kind of your life, isn't it?
Rude. I'm not just queer, okay? I have other aspects to me. God.
I definitely see what you're saying, and to a large extent, I completely agree with it. Although I would say, when you were talking about comparing it to Western depictions, I say that if you see like something like Sound Euphonium or Free, which also revolves around an activity that a group of people share, in the West, if that kind of happens and there's a queer character, sometimes that's also used for comedy, and I would argue that that's kind of even cringier. I'm not saying that you can't you can't include queer people in jokes, because you can, but it's the fact that when the sexuality itself is only there to be used for comedy, and that's something you kind of only see in the West, really.
No, well, that moves on to another point, but we will get to that later.
Yeah.
But
kind of jumping ahead here. I'm sorry.
That also brings up a different point, that like when you're talking about the Western depictions, these queer people are not the main character. Am I right?
True. Yeah, true.
They're like side characters, right?
Unless you're talking about a sitcom like Will and Grace.
But see, that's like really focused on him being queer. Like that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Is all about him being queer. And like what I'm saying is that like Yuri on Ice, main character is allegedly queer, and it's about sports. Like you wouldn't see that in Western media. It's either the main character is queer and it's about the queer, or it's about sports and the main character is not queer. Like you wouldn't get that together.
You don't get both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. And another thing you mentioned with Sound Euphonium and Free, I mean, like you said, it's sort of secondary, where it's a group of people sharing an activity together. It's not necessarily the fact that there may or may not be queer individuals in the show or in the story is kind of secondary to the overall plot. Although I would argue that Free is only seen that way because of Fujoshi.
What do you mean?
I think
Free is seen what way?
In that it is queer baiting, because really it's a man service, really. I mean, yeah, there is some light flirting that goes on, but I just don't see that. I never saw that as queer baiting, really. I think it was just more to service the Fujoshi.
Yeah, it's not that heavily queer baiting. I would definitely say it's more man service. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Sound Euphonium, I've never actually seen it. Riker just loves to rant about how shitty the queer baiting in this show is. I really wish he was here tonight, because he and I actually talked about this before we started tonight. But
he just eats it up. He eats up the fans' expectations for consummation of the queer relationship, and then when we're all disappointed, he just like orgasms. He's like, "Yes, disappointment."
It's like he absorbs that salt into his own system. It's like,
exactly.
Give me all your salt now.
Exactly. He's a monster.
He is. He's a salt monster.
Someone please put him away. No.
But he'll rant about the Sound Euphonium fan base. He really will.
Okay, but the fan base isn't wrong. They really pushed that queer agenda.
They did. He said that it makes it worse in the sense that it's an anime original, so they could have gone anywhere with the plot.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't read the source material, but...
There isn't any source material. It's original.
No, it isn't.
That's what Riker said.
Hell's fucking no. I'm like 99% sure it is not original.
I thought it
Euphonium.
was. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it. I'm not in that fandom.
It's based on a novel.
Oh. I always thought it was an anime original.
Girl.
God damn you, fucking KyoAni. Fuck you, KyoAni, and my expectations of you actually being good. Anyway. Wait, they are good. Never mind.
Yeah.
There were a couple others here that you put down. Sho, do you want to talk about those?
Do you have anything to say about this, Shinoda? I'm quiet.
Yeah.
No, I don't really have anything to add on to. at all. You guys pretty much covered it all, honestly.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
um,
that's all I got.
I know I wanted to say one more thing. Oh, so like it's not just Western media that has a problem about like if
Queerbaiting?
they make the main character queer, then it's all about the queer character. They really don't expand the plot any further. You see that a lot in Japanese comics as well, or manga. Sorry.
Comics. Wow.
Whatever.
What a
I'm
fucking noob.
trying to use international terms. Anyways, and you see that in manga a lot too. Like there's a lot of manga that are just they're actually about explicitly gay characters, and but the manga that have those explicitly gay characters are obviously their romance or their drama, and it's all about the gay character, and it's really there's the plot is doesn't expand from there. And you know, not only is that boring to me personally, but I think it's like poorly written, because basically what you're saying is that the only creative input I need to put in this is the quote unquote progressive idea of having a gay character have a romantic interest, and really I don't need to think about putting any more creativity into the fiction any further, which is just like, it's just bad writing. Because a lot of the BL comics I read are just really poorly written. It's just like, I like you, and then we fuck, and then we just have like some really superficial drama, and then blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's great. This is not interesting at all. And that's like most of the BL is basically that.
That actually
And that's why I
sounds horribly
prefer...
scripted. My God. That's
What?
kind of sad. Like, if it's really like that, that's just horribly scripted, and it's pretty sad.
It is sad, which is why I am more interested in the queer-baited shows, even though they're not explicit. At least they have a fucking plot. At least they put some iota of creativity into like writing a story beyond the fact that the character is queer. So, I mean, both ways you're getting fucked, whether it's explicit or implicit. You know, you can't have the best of both worlds. You just have to just take it. Just... Exactly.
I'm gonna resist the urge to make a sex joke.
Totally didn't lead you on there.
Nope. It's almost like you were setting me up though, and I almost took the bait. I almost did.
The queer bait.
It did. I did.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Oh no.
He's dying.
Don't make me laugh. God damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
Tsunoda
yeah.
has a cough, and I'm gonna try and make him laugh as much as possible.
Fuck you.
Anyway, was that all you wanted to say about queer baiting?
Yeah. No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, should we move on to our second topic then?
Sure. I guess I can talk about it since I'm the one who introduced it. So there's also a trope in anime and manga called okama, which I personally define it as an effeminate, muscular, bearded, butt-chinned man. That's very specific,
I
but
love that term
it repeats
so much.
They make they make it very obvious that there's a butt chin. Like they go out of their way to draw that butt chin really, really there. Anyways, but yeah, that man and they have to wear a lot of makeup, and this depiction is used to typify a gay man. So the characters that would be okama are like Liron from Gurren Lagann, Nico from Tokyo Ghoul, or Puri Puri Prisoner from One Punch Man. And there's also like a lot of unnamed characters, like really side characters that appear like for a minute or two in a lot of shows that are okama, and they usually like hit on the straight male character, and the male character is like no homo, and the okama is like yes homo, and then the main character is like no, and then that's it. And it happens a lot in shonen, and apparently there's a lot of it in One Piece, but I have not watched or read One Piece, so I have no idea what that is. I
It's
see.
okay, you don't need to.
I Google imaged it, and it looks pretty disturbing. But yeah. So have you even heard of Okama before I mentioned it, Alex and or
I
Chinoda?
had heard of it. I thought that it referred to specifically just effeminate men. I didn't necessarily know that there were all other caveats. Like, I didn't know that they had to have makeup or they had to be muscular or bearded or whatever. I thought
Oh
that it
no,
was
this is
specifically like a slur used to refer to effeminate men.
it is. You are right. And the definition I gave wasn't like you have to fit this to be an Okama. It's more like most Okamas are this. Because most Okama I find fit these categories.
This is my first
I can
time
definitely
hearing that
tell you
term.
that I haven't seen and or read Tokyo Ghoul, so I can't speak to that. But I can definitely say that Liron from Gurren Lagann is a really good example of what you described, though, as an Okama. And I think personally, this kind of delves into the idea of the gay man stereotype that you see a lot in both Western and Eastern culture.
Definitely, yeah.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I think that sometimes stereotypes can actually be a good thing because they can actually lead to more awareness of who these people actually are. But at the same time, it can be seen by people who are like this as derogatory. So, now this term specifically can be used outside of anime as well, right?
Yeah.
It can actually be used to refer to a real person who is like this.
Yeah. I think much like otaku, it is originally derogatory, but not a lot, some people refer to themselves as Okama.
Yeah, kind of like as people now refer to themselves as otaku.
Yeah.
It probably has a little more stigma attached to it than otaku.
I'm sure.
just a bit.
Yeah.
But it's something that they've taken upon themselves.
Yeah, it's something that they have chosen for themselves, and I'm sure that a lot of people this is just their personality. I think that this is something that you used to see probably more often than you do now in anime and manga.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think it was more prevalent in older shows.
Yeah. I hate to bring this up around you because you won't agree. Well, you probably don't care. There's a case to be made, at least I think there is, for a character from part 6 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure being like this. Character named Pucci, who is a gay priest. He looks fabulous and he acts kind of fabulous, but he has the facial hair and he's very muscular and he has the butt chin. Doesn't really wear makeup though, but he does. I won't say he acts completely effeminate, but he certainly has like those mannerisms. You know what I mean?
Could be. I have no idea. I
I know
don't read
you,
JoJo's.
you absolutely hate JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I know.
I do.
I think that's actually a pretty decent example based on your definition of Okama that you listed here. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like it's more of a stereotype thing than anything else.
Yeah, so I view it as the gay blackface for
Gay
Japanese.
blackface, gay face.
Yes. And it's basically borderline hate speech, honestly, because it's just I feel they go out of their way to make these Okama look really ugly and desperate and sad. And I feel like that's supposed to be what the straight cis Japanese male is like. Oh, that's what a gay man is they're ugly and sad and desperate. And like you said, some people, in some ways, it's spreading the awareness of the existence of gay people to the Japanese audience. But is it really that great when you're spreading an image like an Okama people who don't or who have remained ignorant of the existence of queer people and now think of them as these sad, desperate, ugly people? Like, I think it's just horrible. And there's nothing wrong with having makeup or being bearded and being gay or whatever and what all these traits. It's all fine. It's just that the way that they purposely draw the Okama as ugly. Like, you can have a beard and be muscular and have makeup and still look good, okay? But no, they make it purposefully look ugly, and most of these characters are played for comedy, like you talked about earlier with the gay side characters in Western media. They usually inserted for comedy. Okama usually also included for comedy, and I guess it could be considered representation, but it's bad representation.
Yeah.
And you could say bad publicity is good publicity, but no, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Sometimes it's meant to be completely derogatory, and like no thought was actually put into actually how this character should be like portrayed, except for make this gay man as feminine as possible, give him muscle, make him look and act as stereotypical as possible as to what you think a gay man should act like.
And it's like not even it's what you think a gay man, like when I see an Okama, I see what a straight man thinks of gay men. Like, I don't see a stereotype of gay men. I see a stereotype by straight men of gay men. And I'm like...
It's not to say that there aren't gay men out there who are like this, because I'm sure there's at least a few.
Of course, there's
yeah.
definitely people like this. But why is it that this particular stereotype, to me at least, from my experience, is so widespread?
Yeah.
And, like, I see it a lot.
And it is. I think it's largely been used for comedy, and more so than not, it's for characters that don't really matter that much to the story, or just characters that are like, for lack of a better term, guest stars, like one episode appearances. Like they're only in one scene in one episode, and they're only there to like make the main character uncomfortable, or just for some comic relief or what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's evidence on both sides to say it could be good or it could be bad. But as I said before, I think this is less common now than it used to be.
Well, yeah, still there, but less common.
Yeah. Shinoda, you're being suspiciously quiet.
Because y'all are already
right
talking about everything. I can't add on to it.
It's okay. Your microphone sucks anyway.
Screw you,
no.
buddy.
Oh, no. Shinoda, would you like to introduce the next topic?
Yes,
No.
because I know it's a topic you care about a lot.
No, go ahead.
Oh my god.
Wow. So salty. I mean, are we done with Okama? Should we move on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say we
All
should.
right. Well, then I will introduce it since you're too lazy to do it. So the last topic that we kind of want to cover with this is something that's a little, I won't say testy, but definitely something that is in the forefront of a lot of people's minds in anime and manga and otaku culture recently, and that is the topic of traps. Now, I think that there are a couple of different types of traps personally, and I think that traps are used in different ways. So I thought that would be something that we could kind of differentiate and discuss. First off, let me tell you my personal opinion of what a trap is, right? It is a character who is male, who, for one reason or another, mostly because of looks and how they act, gets mistaken by at least one character in said story for being a female. That's my personal definition of a trap.
I would like to amend that.
Okay.
I personally see traps as, more specifically, they are biologically male, so they have a dick.
Yeah.
They identify as male, that's their gender. However, they are perceived as female.
Yeah.
That's my definition.
What about you, Shinoda?
Same thing essentially, but moreover, it can be by the fan base or the characters in the show itself. Well, and the characters, not or.
That's true. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be just the characters in the story that perceive the characters this way.
Yeah.
It can be the broader fan base in general that can perceive the character in the same way.
Which it actually is normally a lot.
Well, yeah, you're definitely right about that. Let me ask you guys this: does a trap character necessarily have to be gay?
No, definitely not.
They
Okay,
cannot
good.
be.
Not saying that
hold on.
liking
What do you mean
traps
they
isn't gay. I'm
cannot
just
be?
saying they don't necessarily have to be gay.
Never mind. No. They can be gay. I don't care.
Okay, I was about to
No, I
say.
meant they can be gay, but they do not necessarily. Do they have to be gay?
No.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Because I'm gonna say something that I'm pretty sure that Shinoda's gonna disagree with.
I completely agree with you.
Okay, I don't think you
my.
will when I say this, but so there's a trap in ReZero named Felix Argyle.
Bitch, I
I
got my
think
knives
you're-
out. What are you about to say? You
I
better
think
watch
he's
them
straight.
words.
Okay.
I don't think he's gay.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. I don't know why you would. Actually, I agree with that. I'm pretty sure he's straight. Also.
I don't know, because for reference, I've only read the first 2 volumes of the light novel because that's all I could stomach. It's not very well written. I'm sorry if you like it, but just judging from that and the way he's kind of portrayed within the anime itself, I never thought that he was gay.
I mean, he licks Subaru's ear.
That's true, but he flirts with a bunch of other people.
Wouldn't that make him bi or pan?
I mean, yeah, I suppose it could make him bisexual, or I guess since he's not really human, I would guess that would be pansexual, like you said. But I never thought that he was explicitly gay. I never just got that vibe from him.
No. I didn't think he was
Personally,
exclusively
I think he's got the hots for
homosexual
Krush.
Yeah,
That's
like in the anime, if anything, like they present that more than anything.
Yeah,
He's definitely loyal to her.
very, very much
Is that
so.
why
Almost
he's a
to a
dog?
fault.
Or he's a cat.
Yeah, Catboy.
Yeah. Shinoda, I know you had a problem with the term trap.
I don't have a problem with the term trap, but I know a lot of people in the LGBTQ community do have a problem with it because it can be degrading to trans people. But here's the thing. Just because someone's necessarily looking like that, or dresses in the other gender's clothes, doesn't mean they're a trans person. Now, if they're a trans person and you're calling them a trap, then yeah, I can see why you're getting offended, and honestly, I completely understand why. But otherwise, no, it seems kind of iffy to me.
I mean, trap is a trans term, though. So it's hard to take the trans out of the term trap.
It is, but it does depend on context also, and this context is anime or manga specifically.
Yeah. I also
Like,
find
we're
it
not
weird.
using this to try to insult actual real life people or anything. Hell no, that's not the goal at all.
No, I definitely don't think the people who use the term trap intend to offend trans people when they say it.
Yeah,
But-
real life trans people. Yes.
Yeah. But like, why do we use the term trap? Do you think that the anime traps are intending to trick anyone?
You know what? I'd love to actually get like
An actual trans person?
No, that's not where I
No?
was going with this. That's not where I was going with this at all. No, I would like to get like an etymology of how trap came to be associated with like these types of characters, because I'm assuming that it has to do with how like an early trap was portrayed. Because I know that the idea of a trap has been around for longer than the term itself. I don't know. I'd love to get like an etymology of it. I'm sure there's got to be someone out there who's written it up. I just haven't really found it. But I don't know. I would assume that's why they were called traps in the first place, is because an early depiction of a trap tricked a straight male main character into thinking they were a female.
Maybe?
I'm looking at knowyourmeme.com right now.
Oh, you're what you're doing is you're cheating. You're doing
No.
research during the show.
It's called fact checking, bitch.
Oh god.
I'd like to say I said I didn't know that. I assume that's why they're called traps.
Yeah.
Or it could just because in a roundabout way they kind of trick the audience too. Like I mean a good idea or a good example of that is from Steins Gate. Until Okabe actually explicitly says that Ruka is a dude, I could legitly buy that Ruka was a female.
Yeah.
I mean, has all the same mannerisms that you'd expect from a female, has the voice of a female, although that has to do with the seiyuu who voiced the character, not the actual character, how they're described. But I don't know. I mean, you could look at it from both perspectives, I think, from either tricking a character within the story or tricking the audience watching or reading the story. I will say that Ruka from Steins Gate is a really good example of a trap.
I mean, I wouldn't call Ruka a trap because she doesn't fit my definition because she identifies as a woman.
Perhaps.
So she's not actually a guy dressing as a girl or a guy that you think is a girl. She's a girl that you think is a girl.
Then you would more associate Ruka with a trans person than an actual trap.
Well, she
Yes.
is a trans then.
Well, yes, she is, but I mean, you would more associate it with that than the term trap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What about a character like Hideyoshi from Baka and Test?
Well, yeah, he's a trap.
Yeah, but I mean, he identifies as a man, but even when he says it, no one believes him.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's in
feel
the
that's
definition.
more for the comedy of the show more than anything.
That's true. You raise a good point, and that also points out something else that sometimes traps themselves are used for comedy, much in the same way that Okama are. Is it necessarily to demean the trap character themselves, or what?
I think traps are used less for comedy than Okama, or even like queer baiting is used more for comedy than traps. I feel like most traps, it's like just the existence of the trap is like the main thing. Like they don't even have to make a joke out of it. It's just it's there and then done. At least that's what I see.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid point. Of course, you got Hidari from Blend S, who was the surprise in that show. Surprised a lot of fans,
Definitely surprised me.
Yes.
including
my God.
myself. The character's popularity shot up when it was revealed that he had a dick.
I wonder why.
And that also brings up something because Hidari is a character who, more or less, identifies as male and acts pretty masculine, yet is basically just a crossdresser. Does that necessarily make him a trap? Does just being a crossdresser make a character a trap?
Yes.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Shinoda?
Yeah.
So you think that
because
actually is a qualifier for being a trap if a character crossdresses?
I think that's not just a qualifier, but I think that actually is the basis of it, if anything.
Do you have to cross-dress to be a trap?
Yeah, do you have to crossdress to be a trap?
I don't think you necessarily have to, but if more so you do, it's more than likely that you are.
I mean it's a fair point. It's all the traps that we've kind of talked about so far have been crossdressers. You get Felix Argyle, Ruka from Steins Gate, Hidari from Blend S, Hideyoshi.
Hideyoshi didn't cross-dress though.
People gave him women's clothes though.
Yeah, but like they thought he was a woman before.
True. I have seen official art with him wearing women's clothes though.
Yeah, but like, wait, Ruka? I forget what Ruka wears. I don't even know. I know Felix is wearing female clothes the entire time.
Yeah. Well, except the time when he's wearing the knight's uniform, where it's just like an all white suit.
I see. And I assume Hidari is wearing women's clothes a lot of the time.
Yeah, the dress.
Yeah. We don't have this written down, but there's also that character from Snafu. Forget the white-haired character.
Oh yes. God, what was his name?
I don't know.
Fuck.
But I don't think ever wore women's clothes, but he was a trap.
True. I mean, and then you got a character like Kino in Kino's Journey, who has a, if not a feminine appearance, a very androgynous appearance.
Yep. And then you also have Haruhi from Uran.
Yeah.
Female traps.
It's like they call it a reverse trap, but let's be honest, it's just a female trap.
It's a reverse trap.
It's a reverse trap. What the hell are you talking about, Alex? Come on, get with the picture.
It's the female version of a male trap.
Yep.
Yeah, so a reverse
Haruhi
trap.
from Ouran High School Host Club is probably one of the best examples of that I can think of off the top of my head. Kino is another one. Everyone for the longest time thought Kino was actually a dude. Even the people that read the light novels, and it's like, and it's written to the story because anytime that someone asks Kino whether Kino's a boy or a girl, she always just replies, "I'm Kino," which is a good answer, I suppose, if you always want to keep people guessing.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what's the overall opinion of traps with you guys?
Better yet, we need to address the true question.
Oh no.
Of traps.
Okay.
What are traps gay?
Now, do you mean are traps themselves gay, or is liking traps gay?
Is liking traps gay?
Yes.
Good, because I think it's gay too.
Listen,
I don't get what the fuck you say.
No, it's not. The penis
Yes,
is very
it is.
feminine.
Oh, fight.
The penis is feminine. It's okay. It's not gay.
No. Oh my god.
Shinoda, I hate to break this to you, but you're fucking wrong. It's gay as hell.
Those soft, supple curves? What are you talking about? That's totally straight.
Oh god, he's dying.
No.
See, the thing is, like, it's not the fact that the penis is there. It's the fact of what you imagine doing with that penis. That's what makes it gay.
Oh my. This got to a whole nother level.
I hate to burst anyone's bubble out there, but traps are gay. Fucking deal with it.
Thank you. Thank you for addressing the elephant in the room.
Now, what if you're a female that likes traps?
Not to steal a quote from Seinfeld here. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you like traps, it's fine. I mean,
it's
seriously,
just gay.
like, this is. I'm trying to open this up as like, listen, if you're on the fence as to whether you actually like guys or not, maybe this is the catalyst that you can use. Is like, do I like dick? Yes, I love dick.
It's so true though.
It's like, no, you can't like have this revelation like all at once. You have to ease yourself into it. Well, it's a feminine looking penis. It's okay. And then it's like, it's right in your face. It's like, penis. It's like, yes, I like this now.
Exactly. And
so yes, so liking traps
process,
is gay, yes.
If you ever want help with that process, you can hit Alex up.
Got me coughing now. Jesus Christ. That's it. That's all I got for traps. Liking traps is gay. Fucking Felix Argyle is fantastic.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Well, overall, I just wanted to say about traps is that I think traps are good. I think for the most part, they're pretty like good depictions of androgynous characters, and I appreciate their inclusion in the stories. But what I hate about traps is the fan base. I hate the fan base because they're all fucking thirsty trap lovers, and you need to fucking quench that thirst. And I don't want to see that because that is messy and nasty.
We will never quench our thirst. What the hell are you talking about?
Get the fuck back.
No, fuck you. Screw you.
Not until scientists realize that cat boys and girls can be a real thing will I ever quench my thirst.
Oh god.
Listen, I believe in my boy Elon. He'll make it happen.
It's gonna happen. Elon Musk is gonna make cat boys and cat girls a reality. If he can get us to Mars, he put a fucking Tesla in orbit. The man can do anything.
I believe it.
God, it was
Sad.
beautiful. Now the only thing we need is to send a trap to Mars. We sent a car. Now we can send a trap. That's it. That's all I got. I agree with you though, Show, that I think overall the inclusion of traps in anime, manga, what have you, is actually by and large a really good thing.
Yeah, I don't think like it's not that offensive. But I'm not a trans person, so what does my opinion matter? But I don't see it as that offensive. So I think it's nice. It's interesting. It's a change of pace.
Yes. What about you, Chinoda? Traps cool or no?
I personally don't have a problem with it. I in fact think it adds another element into anime, if anything, having a
Another
character like
element.
that. Yeah,
Another element of your spank mag.
Yes. I mean, that was a direct
I
hit.
mean-
Never mind.
yeah, but you know, it's fine. It's perfectly okay.
I think that the best line that I can think of to wrap this thing up with is the dick only makes it cuter.
There you go.
Sure.
On that note, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us, to part 2 of this 3-part miniseries. We hope you enjoyed it, because we always enjoy bringing these things to you. And stay tuned for part 3 coming soon. What are we talking about in part 3? Oh, Lolies and Shotas.
Oh boy,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
boy.
Interesting discussion. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. If you're looking for something in a similar vein to this that we've done before, definitely check out our previous episode that we did about minority representation in anime. These two people that were with me tonight were also on that episode, and it's actually really, really good. In the meantime, if you want to check out our previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. If you want to keep up with If you want to keep up with what we're doing and have a little more fun, you can join our Facebook group, which we are just shy of 200 followers on there. You can follow our Twitch channel, and you can visit our website. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, concerns on this or any episode, feel free to shoot us an email. Links to all of these things will be down below in the description. I want to thank both Sho and Chinoda for joining me here for this thoughtful discussion and joining me tonight. And as always, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Night.
Bye bye. Have a good time.